Good morning and very pleasant morning. Yes, greeting from my side to all my students, to all my budding professors, instructors, teachers, and then, of course, you are going to be in different instructional positions and capacities to impart English language training as well. As I did, you are going to do the same very thing for the contribution to enhance English literature and grammar structure to the leadership of our society, to different walks of life, wherever the budding leaders they are, in fact, doing their miracles, doing their services, doing their what I should say, their proving their worth there to make and to ensure success in your walk of life. With this, I also extend my bundle of thanks, and my gesture of thankfulness is to all of you because you are displaying your deep love for me. You so far are sharing, pressing the button, prescribing, then of course commenting on, because your comments, your likes, your views, and your very, very important, that is the feedback which is coming from your side regarding my instruction, my teaching, my coaching, my mentoring, my you see my lecturing and all that is there. So thank you very much. So grateful to you because it is your encouragement. It is your little apparently it is little feedback, but it is in fact a lot of and huge amount of encouragement, huge amount of love that you display by sharing your views and opinions, because my channel is purely a channel to impart training, coaching, mentoring, grooming, training, and then, of course, instructions to enhance your leadership quality, where you have to enhance your communicative skills as well. English communication skills, techniques, and know how. This is very, very important because English language, English speaking world is getting expanded to even spaces from the planet of Earth. It has gone so high into the spaces, into the world where English is the source of communication, is the source of linkage, is the source of, interacting orally, writing, through speaking, through reading, through listening. You are supposed to be in contact with your audience. And thank you very much. And English language is, in fact, the only very strong medium of relationship the world over, and universally it is going to engulf, it is going to have a very strong linkages with ourselves, and we are connected, and the connectivity through the net or through social media or through any source, but somehow the medium, the communication, the voice carrier, the ideas carriers is through the language of English, and that is why I would like to continue my teaching to you through my oral interaction with you. Thank you very much, and please do subscribe do press the button, do share your views as well. Now, coming back to my syllabi, the 4 years degree program that I am in fact revising, and I have already taken the start. My previous video, my previous lecture, that was on Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer, who is a 14th century father of English literature, and I covered a lot of things regarding Chaucer. And today I am going to confine my lecture to the only work, only inception, literary start, literary main gate, literary start, and it is in fact inceptionally first time the birth of English literature that is taking place, and the plume, the crown that is there on the forehead of Geoffrey Chaucer. Yes, dear students, yes, August students, I am going to talk about, and I am going to cover almost my detailed discussion on the Canterbury Tales. And today, prologue to the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. Probably we all know, but I have to repeat because it was written in the late 14th century and is the foundational masterpiece of English literature, because it sets this Canterbury Tale, the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, it set the stage for a storytelling competition among a diverse group of pilgrimage, because all the pilgrims traveling from Southwark to Thomas Becket's shrine in Canterbury, beautifully narrated stories by all the characters, and the art of characterization, art of painting the characters, and poetically composing certain verses and then the lines by Geoffrey Chaucer to create vividity, to create a lively touch. They are behind the lines we feel, and as if all those pilgrims, they are even today, they are traveling from Southwark to Thomas Becket's shrine in Canterbury today. Yes, dear audience, prologue to the Canterbury Tales, it serves as a frame narrative providing vivid satirical portraits of medieval society, spanning from the noble knight to the corrupt pardoner, all presented by a new narrator. Because it is a narration, it is a storytelling, and through this medium of storytelling, all the characters, they once narrate their stories one by one. All 29 storytellers, once they narrate, they talk, they come out with the actual lives lived by them. They are in the beginning of the Londoners' societal identity as the inhabitants of Peninsula, the English Peninsula, and how they were. So very important, very important, because the narrative frame is there. But Geoffrey Chaucer's poetic success, literary success, is there behind his providing vivid satirical portraits of medieval society of England, spanning from the noble or the nobility of knight to the corruption of pardoner, all presented by a naive narrator. Yes, dear audience, now the first thing that I would like you to be with me, and you must understand that it is in fact the few important things that we have to take into account, and we have to understand that what are certain elements of a journal prologue. First is the prologue, then is each story of 29 characters there in the Canterbury Tales, the prologue. That is the first thing, opening. The key elements of the general prologue are four. We know opening setting, the structure, state satire, and a lot of things are there. But you see, one by one, the setting and the opening, that is very important that we have to have clear understanding about the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. Yes, dear audience, dear students, as we know, the prologue opens with one of the most famous lines in English literature, when April with his showers sweet. It starts with it, and what a beautiful what a beautiful syllabled rhythmic compositions of words where Geoffrey Chaucer establishes a theme of rebirth, springtime, and spiritual and physical longing or belonging or owning the English peninsula. The Londoners, he as a genuine original owner of England, he starts singing this song of the main characters, and the opening lines is there about something which is apparently a story, which is apparently the fables, which is apparently a tale, which is apparently a personal experience of that specific and personal, that particular character, but it is in fact a literary piece where you find almost everything related to that character. And then, dear students, second very important thing, prologue to the Canterbury Tales is the structure of the prologue. How all these stories, the complete poetic work of by Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer, how does it look like structurally? The Chaucer acts as the narrator, joining a group of 29 other pilgrims at the Tabard Inn. We all know that is the setting, structure is there, and all 29 characters are there. They are proceeding, they are traveling, and there for a break, for a pause, for a halt, they have a little rest. And there in the Tabard Inn, they are resting, they are taking time, and now further journey they have to restart. But it is somehow they start, narrating their own experiences of their their previously lived lives. Now, very important. The second, third thing is the challenge. What was challenge, and what was a little? The little offers, a little competitive air that was given just as a challenge. Barry Bailey, the host, she proposes. Barry Bailey, the host, he proposes that each pilgrim tells two tales on the way to Canterbury, and on the way back, the two more tales, two more stories will also be narrated on their way back to London, to Tabard Inn. And the winner, whosoever would be the winner, whosoever would be a successful leader or champion to mark his or her story as the top story, will be who tells the most instructive and amusing tale, who will be very, very popular. He will get a free supper paid by all the others, all the other pilgrims. Now, this is what a beautiful way that was there to create interest, to create competition. But you see, the topper the most enchanting and lovely and interesting and full of what I should say, full of interest and full of emotional truth, and maybe the actual truth. Everything would be there included in the story, in each story. Only then, once any storyteller comes out or tells or speaks his or her heart out to the other listeners, and truth does not fall victim to casualty, and there is a pure and true story coming out from each character, then probably based on the recognition, based on the laughter, based on the interest, based on the interest generated by that story, the most rewarding story would be the winner story, and the winner story who the winner storyteller will be offered a supper, will be offered a lot of things, as we today have a sort of, you see, KFC, McDonald, and so many other branded inns or stopovers there on the highway or the motorways, and this is how that was there back in 14th century, late 14th century. The depiction, the reflection, the recollection, the recapturing, the calling back all those previous experiences, or a sort of, you see, pleasant get togetherness, or together they traveled, together they lived, together they talked about, together they laughed, together they smiled, together they shared their own thoughts. So this is how that was the challenge, and the Barry Bailey, the host there, in fact, apparently proposes that each pilgrim will tell two story. The host will tell two tales on the way there and two on the way back. The winner who tells the most instructive and amusing tale will get a free supper paid by the rest of the others. Then, very important, dear audience, or a beautiful satire, state satire. That is a satire. State satire. It means that is the important things are there. The portraits represent all three medieval states. Those who fight, those in fact who have been fighting with each other, who have been praying there in the churches, who have been working together, and all the portraits representing all three medieval states, the three medieval states, and often satirize their corruption, vanity, and hypocrisy. For example, I when I was doing my master in English, I used to again and again read three most interesting characters because of the hypocrisy, because of the vanity, because of corruption, because of something which was seriously wrong with their characters. But the characters, they were quite interesting for me, and I had to read again and again. I had to discuss again and again. I had to write the characteristics of these three characters. And then, of course, the character of Knight was also a very important and very good character. But these three characters, the greedy friar, the corrupt pardoner, the worldly prioress, all these three characters, they were somehow was notably were not so true to their titles, to their names, to their identities. They are in the Society of London. Yes, dear audience, yes, dear students, yes, dear English literature budding professors and lecturers, do remember that once you are studying, you are teaching, you are listening, you are writing anything on Prologue to the Canterbury Tales, do do take into account, do remember the notable pilgrims, notable characters, notable pilgrims, notable stories, notable fables, notable tales narrated by notable pilgrims. And Chaucer has beautifully described them, because Chaucer's portraits are famous for their realism and wit. Remember these two things, that Geoffrey Chaucer has painted his characters there in the Canterbury Tales, in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, as if each character is talking to you today. And why? And what is so important? Because at that time, back in 14th century, and even today, once we open the prologue to the Canterbury Tale, and in front of our eyes, once we start reading the composed and poetic lines, each verse after verse, it is a line after line. It is as if it is the same very character talking to us, same very character living with us, same very character, the character they are talking to us, they are in communication with us, because that is the very strong element of, very strong characteristic of, very strong beautiful artistic and poetic genius of Geoffrey Chaucer. That is very much touchable, that is very much traceable there in the written lines. And the Chaucer's portraits, Chaucer's characters are famous for their realism and wit. Realism and wit, that is the, I am talking to you and spontaneously there is something as outcome of your mental and intellectual response to my idea. That is not only the creativity but also a very shrewd and sharp, with, you see, the technique of satire, humor, manners, techniques and manners, literary techniques, literary manners, that is there. So realism is there, wit is there. For example, the knight, the representing nobility of soldiery, representing the nobility of army at that time, the uniformed people, how they behaved during their life lived. That was the important thing. And the character of knight, the character of prioress, and character of wife of Bath, character of the parson, the character of the pardoner, all these characters Geoffrey Chaucer painted in his book, and that book was written as a title as the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. What a beautiful, what a lovely, what I should say, it is a lovely way of singing the song of the lives lived by the Londoners, by these 29 characters painted, characterized, and beautifully and poetically they have been presented to the students, to the English literature. It is there, prologue to the Canterbury Tale, just as a work, it is there, and having realism and wit. For example, the wife of Bath, a loud, gap-toothed, experienced woman who has had 5 husbands but represents secular, passionate in her life. And we have the character of knight, who exemplifies chivalry, truth, and honor. He is high ranking and respected. Now, gallantry, chivalry, a lot of things are there right on the chest. And he believes to be, he thinks that he is worthy of chivalry. A lot of chivalrous deeds have been performed in the heat of battlefields by the knight. And that is why, with honor, with his chest 6 inches out, he continues to talk to other pilgrims. Means, through the character of knight, Chaucer is unveiling the social ills of the soldiery as a profession, because knight, true that his character is very, very forceful, very strong, but character represents and exemplifies chivalry, truth, and honor, and he is high ranking and respected as well. What a beautiful character! Character painting, character talking, character and portrait, as if they are lively, living a full life today with us, and we feel the same very element of a living inhabitant in the profession of soldiery that is there. That is how the knight of character is a very favorite character of mine. I had to pick a lot of things, but rather making a very quick reference of somebody else's work, that is the work of George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw's play, in which George Bernard Shaw gave the same very character of Major Sergius. There are a lot of people. Captain Bluntschli is there, Major Sergius is there, Arms and the Man. The play written by George Bernard Shaw, and the leading character, the hero, is Captain Bluntschli, a runaway soldier from the battlefield. And Raina, who happens to be daughter of a Major General Major Petkoff family. What a beautiful the setting, the stage, and on that stage, the play starts with the three-act play, and Arms and the Man, beautifully written. But you see, the foundational majestic, poetic majesty has already been introduced, has already been handed over to coming ages, and that is how, after 3-4 centuries, George Bernard Shaw, 5 centuries, George Bernard Shaw went on writing and went on following the same very you see, footprints of poetic footprints of Geoffrey Chaucer, because of blending, giving, or using realism and wit. How characters are witty, how they have to talk to each other with, you see, quick, spontaneous, and without wasting a single minute while talking, they use their wit. That is the beauty. That is lovely, excellent technique of a poet to tell a story, to share their creativity with the readers, with the listeners. But you see, apparently it is somehow their personal experience or poetic experience, but it becomes the experience of the listener, of the reader, of the writer, of the student. So full of life, the experience of poet becomes the experience of the listener, of the audience. That is the realism. That is so realistically painted by Geoffrey Chaucer in all the characters. So I was talking about the character of the knight, and then character of the prioress, Madame Eglantine. Madame Eglantine, apparently a nun, but you see, she was more concerned with her table manners. While talking there in the inn, while getting up, while walking, mannerism and techniques, and lot of, you see, artificiality of her life, that is more dominant, more concerned for her, and the appearance was more important for her while sharing her experiences, because she is primarily supposed to be a spiritual lady. Why there was a contradiction? Prioress, a nun, concerned with her table manners and by appearance only, and least concerned about her spiritual duties. It is somehow that was satirized, that was humorized, that was unveiled. Because, mind you, dear students and budding professors and lecturers, and try to, from exam point of view, you have to be concerned about each character's character traits, and the title, the name, and very important for all of us to keep in our mind to understand Geoffrey Chaucer's superiority, or the majestic, poetic, foundational stature of Geoffrey Chaucer. If you just keep in your mind very elegant and very strong notion, a strong, what I should say, quality of poetic quality of Chaucerian work, prologue to the Canterbury Tale, where each character has its fresh, its lively, its ever ready universality, and then vitality, and that re-energizes your affiliation, and it generates, each character generates interest in you to enjoy. And also there is a reformative, there is a corrective, reformative, and then of course there is a lesson also, because behind satire, humor, behind laughter, behind smile, behind witty sentences, behind anything which Geoffrey Chaucer satirizes, means there is a correction. There is a correction for a corruption. There is a correction, there is a reformation for a hope to see the next society, the coming time, to rectify their social faults, to rectify their social ills. And the prior madam is none, but she is more concerned about the apparent life, least concerned about the spiritual duties. Beautiful character. The wife of Bath, a loud, gap-toothed, experienced woman who has had 5 husbands and represents secular, passionate life. Very interesting. That 5 husbands means, what is the message behind the lines? What was the kind and type of society at that time, during the time of Geoffrey Chaucer, that time, the life which was lived by the Londoners? Each character is telling the story to laugh at that character, to be little. True amusement is there, literary amusement is there, literary entertainment is there, artistic technique has been so successfully used, but it is somehow ridiculing the life lived by the Londoners during those times. The wife of Bath, a loud, gap-toothed, experienced woman who has had 5 husbands and representing secular and passionate life. Look at the other character of the parson. The parson, again, the partner and parson. The only true, pious, humble, and devout member of the clergy mentioned by Geoffrey Chaucer in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, that is, you see, is creating beauty, poetic beauty, because the truth is there, realism is there, the satire is there, humor is there, the condemnation of contemptuous but gracefully telling the story, but contemptuous hatred is also there. How to condemn, how to dislike, how to despise the habits and certain important habitual or wrongdoings of this character of Parson, that is very much there. Yet another character of the partner who is selling fake holy relics. They are in the hotel, they are in the inn. Once you see the partner is going to perform pilgrimage along with the other comrades, along with the other companions. So he is selling fake holy relics. But he is described to be corrupt, effeminate, and greedy. Effeminate you may call between he and she, or posing to behave like a girlish man, excuse me, posing to be a girlish in his gestures, in his gesticulating and all that. But you see, he is selling fake holy relics and is described as corrupt, effeminate, and greedy person. Now, dear students, very, very important, because before conclusions, I quickly would like to touch upon literary techniques and significance of prologue to the Canterbury Tales. How this literary classical poetry piece, classical poem, prologue to the Canterbury Tales, all the 29 characters poetically painted by Geoffrey Chaucer, and they're in a shape of complete work. Once it is there in front of you, how many techniques have been used for its significance, and how they become significantly so important, so imperative later on, that the foundational majestic and excellent contribution by Geoffrey Chaucer was followed by the coming, by the approaching, by the coming, by the later on poets, by philosophers and historians and all those people, even the literary critics, they also believe in that. And techniques used by Geoffrey Chaucer in the prologue to the Canterbury Tale is the technique number one is characterization. Yes, dear students, characterization is very importantly and very beautifully, artistically, literarily, it was a beautiful technique of characterizing physical description, clothing, behavioral quirks, to reveal character, to define character, to introduce character, to let the character speak out its heart to the readers, rather than just telling the reader who they are. Mere introducing the character by name or by identity or by the capacity, by the office, social office that the character is possessing there in the society of London back in the second part of 14th century. It was not beyond that. Chaucer in fact used physical description, and to the extent of wearing, dressing, how the characters are dressed up, how they were so particular about certain things. Once they are wearing something, even you see the nuns' dresses, clothing, the behavioral quirks to reveal character, to understand character, rather than just telling or plainly telling the reader, plainly telling the listener who they are, who 29 characters are. Second technique which Geoffrey Chaucer has beautifully used, and we have to appreciate, we have to really give extra credit to Geoffrey Chaucer, because once foundational father poet, foundational literary figure, we grade Geoffrey Chaucer, then we have to take into account, to take into our critical appreciation his technique of irony and satire. What a beautiful way to discuss the technique of Geoffrey Chaucerian irony and satire. Yes, dear students, beautiful that I have to, if you ask me to give my lecture, to give my talk, to continue my talk on the irony and satire and the characterizations and the frame narrative and then the language and diverse storytelling technique, all these things, if you ask me to deliver my lecture, I will, I will continue talking on these very important things of Geoffrey Chaucer's regarding the 29 pilgrims, narrating the stories with realism and wit of each character. It will definitely, for hours, I will continue talking on them, character by character, character after character, portrait after portrait, all the poetic lines composed by Geoffrey Chaucer. I will definitely continue talking continuously and continually. I will continue to talk to you people regarding Chaucerian, this very rich poetic wealth. Yes, dear audience, Chaucer in fact praises characters while revealing their faults. This is the simultaneous art of literary command or literary depth, or intellectually so witty, so spontaneous, so responsible is Geoffrey Chaucer. While praising characters, he also reveals their faults. That is the brighter side of the portrait. That is the blushing on, the scintillating side of the character. That is the goodness. That is the positiveness, positivity of character. But you see, Chaucer continues to do justice, to paint the character's reality. That is the truth that he gives, because he praises the friar's worthiness while noting that he takes money from poor widows. Now you see, the prior is very worthiness, very worthy of the honesty, dead honesty. Friar is supposed to display dead honesty. That is the character state. That is the character trait. That is the positivity of the character. That is the higher stature of friar that friar is supposed to maintain, that he is worthy of. But you see, Geoffrey Chaucer is noting down an important thing related to friar, that the friar also is also in the habit of taking money even from poor. widows. Corruption is there. At heart, friar is not good. At the back of his mind, there is something which is the grey area of friar's worthiness. So he can't be declared, he can't be caught. That is the beauty, irony and satire that is there behind these lines, behind these character painting. Then is the frame narrative. The pilgrimage structure allows for diverse stories, diverse tales to be told, to be narrated, to be shared, ranging from chivalric romance, that is the romantic chivalry, that is the gallantry, but the fake gallantry, to the filthy comedy. Filthy comedy means that is the mean, cheap, and below standard, you see, comedy. It is the cheap way of humorizing, laughing, smiling, and through that technique, you see, the stories, the tales narrated by all. Look at the noble notion of each one of the travelers, that they are traveling to perform their pilgrimage. And all the pilgrims, they are supposed to be pious, they are supposed to be neat, they are supposed to be clean, they are supposed to have their noble intention. At heart they are noble, indeed they are noble, but you see, truly speaking, the language, which is very, very important, the Prologue to the Canterbury Tale by Geoffrey Chaucer has been written in Middle English. It was crucial in establishing the London dialect as the standard for modern English. But unconsciously or consciously, Geoffrey Chaucer, having been in the civil service or in the civil bureaucracy as a civil bureaucrat, he was doing some contribution to the English literature as a father of English literature, not knowingly that he would become father of English literature, but unconsciously, because of his genuine original nativity and his natural and depth of love for England, that he unconsciously was noting down, writing down the beautiful, you see, recollection, beautiful poetic recollection, poetic re-energizing stories, fables narrated by the narrators, 29 narrators, but in guise of their stories. What a beautiful work, what a beautiful contribution. Language written in Middle English, it was crucial in establishing the London dialect as the standard as the dialect for the but somehow it was a lovely way of giving their huge amount of wealth, literary wealth, to the English literature, just as English literature in the second part of 14th century. Dear students, I will continue talking to you people on the other poets, because one by one, as per your syllabi, as per your exam, there will be certain questions as well at the end of this series of lecturing, of my talking. I will be critically analyzing the interrogative way of giving some questions, and then to ask began to give answers to those questions. So the question on Geoffrey Chaucer and then answers to Geoffrey Chaucer's life, his works, his contribution, and his stature and standing, his meritorious celebrations there in the hierarchy of English literature or the history of English literature, that will be there. Last but not the least, prologue is essential for understanding the social hierarchy and tensions of 14th century England through critical lens, critical lens. And dear audience, I think it is too much from my side, but I would like to conclude my words in these lines. Prologue to the Canterbury Tales, written, poetically composed, and intellectually poetically, intellectually written by, intellectually worked by Geoffrey Chaucer is essential for understanding the social hierarchy and tensions of 14th century London. Why? Because the 14th century London was lived by Geoffrey Chaucer as civil servant. He was representing the civil bureaucracy. He was representing the military bureaucracy. He was representing the king. He was representing the aristocracy. He was representing the dual standards of 14th century as well. He was representing the artificial way of living a life. So all the characters, they are there as a humorous song, as satirical song, yet critical lenses are there for the students to understand and to give answers to each question on Geoffrey Chaucer. God bless you. Once again, request to all of you that do subscribe and do come out with your comments and with your suggestions and opinions as well. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you very much. Lot of prayers. Prayerfully, a lot of du'aएं, lot of prayers from my side. God bless you.